Greetings, my dear friends. Chax simplifies, an attempt by me to make complex issues that face us, explain them in very simple terms, and give all my dear friends a quick 3 to 4 minute insight into the issue. The basics, the complexities, and the insights are what governs Chax simplifies. Let me take the latest problem that all of us today face, the India-Pakistan story. We are against each other, we are up to each other, we fight with each other like cats and dogs. Why? Is there a history to it? Is there an ideology that is working that makes the two nations behave the way they do? Yes, there is an ideology, there is a history, and that is called the two-nation theory. Many people are credited for the two-nation theory. Sir Syed Ahmed, yes, Veer Savarkar, Gandhi, Jinnah. But how far is that true? You'll be surprised, I was when I first read it, that the first time Hindus and Muslims were considered separate, different, and a struggle started by Muslims to say we are eminent happened during the reign of Akbar, the Mughal emperor. It was against his so-called new religion called Deen-e-Ilahi, which basically meant coexistence of Hindus and Muslims, that this came up. And the person who came up with it was a gentleman called Ahmad Sirhindi. Shah Waliullah in the 18th century, Syed Ahmad Barlawi in the early 19th century added fuel to the fire. Yes, it was indeed Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, in his speech in 1893 at Patna, who first said categorically that Hindus and Muslims are two different entities. Yet he never said they cannot coexist. Subsequently, a number of theories did come up, and some of them felt threatened by the revival that was taking place in the Hindus as far as the birth of Indian National Congress, the Arya Samaj, which was fighting against social ills in the Hindus, and don't ever forget the Britishers always fished in troubled waters to ensure a rift was there by their famous policy called divide and rule. Let's fast forward a little and go to the First World War and the aftermath. In the aftermath of the First World War, the Britishers decided that the Caliph had to go. And go he did. But that is where, in 1916, Mahatma Gandhi found this to be an ideal vehicle to unite India against the British, and that is where he supported a movement called the Khilafat. Khilafat was the first pan-India civil disobedience movement against the British, and from the Muslim side was led by the Ali brothers, Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Ali Ahmad. For the first time, Muslims had a constituency and a voice to speak. In 1916, the Lucknow Pact, which the Congress accepted, Muslims will have separate representative seats in the local assembly and councils, and 1/3 of the assembly and councils will be reserved for Muslims gave them a political voice. Let's fast forward a little more and get to the 1925, where for the first time in an All India Muslim League conference, Justice Abdur Rahman propounded the two-nation theory in categorical terms, saying Hindus and Muslims are not like Catholics and Protestants. They cannot coexist. In 1930, in a similar All India Muslim League session, Iqbal also spoke on the same issue. Fast forward a little more. Let's get to the Second World War. And thereafter, the Britishers decided that they had to leave. And since they had to leave, they found it was easier to partition India into Hindus and Muslim dominated states. Two countries. Muhammad Ali Jinnah was convinced that this is the only way he would accept the Britishers to depart. Congress gave in, and when they carried out their own methods of dividing the country, the Muslim League demanded almost half of the current India, also because some parts of these were ruled by either Muslim rulers, like Hyderabad for example, or had sizable Muslim population, Assam for example. However, when elections were held in these areas, it was the Congress representatives that won in many of the places, and therefore India was divided into two nations. I am not going into the details of the princely states, etc. India became two countries. In August 1947, India and Pakistan. India, a secular country where we had decided all communities will have equal vote, equal voice, equal representation, and a Muslim dominated Pakistan, which was built on the foundation of the glue of Islam. And they said Islam is the glue which will bind Pakistan and free the Pakistanis and make them grow better, wiser, stronger, and more prosperous. Well, in many ways, this defines what Pakistan is today. A Hindu population of 18% reduced to less than 2%. Christians, less than 0.5%. There is significant hatred to everything that is Hindu. Why? Essentially because the Islamic Pakistan always thought it was the Hindus that were holding the Muslims back, and now they are free and therefore they will grow, and this defines how the minorities are treated in Pakistan. Great. But then Pakistan found it very difficult to say who is a Muslim. The Munir-Kayani Commission, which was set up after the disturbances, I'm calling them disturbances, they were large-scale riots, but after the disturbances in Punjab in 1953. That, my dear friends, is another story, and for the next episode. Goodbye till then, and do write back, write your comments, and if you like my video, share it and give us a thumbs up. Thank you.